Every recently, EFCC. Name invitation, but I have seen. So I go no car. My house, recorded 1996. I said, can you give us proof? You bought this house in 1996. Yeah. September 1996. With my check in full. Being full payment. They are both checked this prepayment of fiscal credit as agreed. They do sent full payment. 1996. This house is like I sell it for 1 billion, for 1 million pounds. It's there. So, oh my God, inside this now, before I wrap London, World Bank gave him $7 million. And it's written. They are both them companies in Chile. It's there. So, all that is a business. So, for me, I'm not even sure that a man at that I change his buy. Or them man. No, or them man. Or them man. Only one idea. One for example, it's okay to make TV business. So, setting it up. Come on, what the company patronage. Then we can advert. We phone and one. Not to go change here. How about the TV on him?
That's what I know.
Was that road contract?
Even almost something I haven't told you. After I built that school in 2007, maybe I commissioned say the videos here thereafter videos here now.
When history looks back at the leaders who stood tall in times of moral decay, the name Peter Gregory Obi, former governor of Anambra State, will shine brightly, not because he wielded power, but because he refused to let power wield him. In a country where political office often means personal enrichment, Peter Obi charted a different path, one of integrity, prudence, and accountability. His story is not just about what he achieved, but what he refused to do. When Peter Obi became governor of Anambra State in 2006, many expected the usual script: luxury convoys, bloated budgets, and endless excuses for failure. But Obi shocked the political establishment. He came in quietly, worked quietly, and left quietly, but his impact was loud and lasting. One of the earliest demonstrations of his integrity came when he rejected a piece of land offered to him as governor. It was customary for Nigerian governors to allocate prime lands to themselves, their families, and political allies. But not Peter Obi. He said plainly, "I came to serve, not to enrich myself." He returned the land to the state, setting an example that public office is not an avenue for personal gain, but for public good. His frugality was legendary. Peter Obi was known for personally cutting unnecessary government expenses. He reduced the number of official vehicles, cancelled lavish government retreats, and slashed the cost of running the governor's office. He insisted that every naira of public money must serve the people, not the comfort of politicians. Even when he traveled, he flew economy class, shocking those who believed governors must always fly first class. To him, governance was about service, not showmanship. Perhaps the clearest test of his integrity came when he was pressured to inflate the state budget, a common practice among politicians, to create room for settlements and kickbacks. Peter Obi refused. He would not sign what his conscience could not defend. That decision led to his illegal impeachment by the State House of Assembly in November 2006. But even in the face of persecution, he stood firm. He chose truth over compromise, integrity over convenience. And history later vindicated him. The courts restated him as governor, proving that character, though tested, always triumphs. Peter Obi's commitment to transparency transformed Anambra State. He insisted that the state's financial records be properly audited. He paid off debts left by previous administrations and introduced fiscal discipline that was rare in Nigerian politics. By the time he left office in 2014, Obi didn't just leave a stable economy. He left billions of naira and millions of dollars in savings for his successor. In a nation where most governors leave empty treasuries and mountains of debt, Peter Obi left abundance. He handed over to the next government not liabilities, but assets, including investments in power, education, and health. Even international bodies like the World Bank and the Debt Management Office took note of his prudence and fiscal discipline. His style of governance was simple but effective: cut waste, prioritize the poor, and invest in the future. Under his leadership, Anambra State became one of the few states in Nigeria without salary arrears. He paid workers promptly, boosted education funding, and rehabilitated schools that many had been abandoned. While other governors built monuments for self-glorification, Obi invested in human capital, in teachers, students, and entrepreneurs. He believed that a government's success is not measured by the number of buildings it erects, but by the number of lives it uplifts. Even after leaving office, Peter Obi continued to live modestly. No private jets, no mansions scattered across the world. He moves around without the usual fanfare of ex-governors. Those who know him personally describe him as disciplined to the core, a man who still keeps receipts for every expense, no matter how small. For Peter Obi, accountability is not a performance, it is a lifestyle. His integrity has since become his political identity. In every campaign or public appearance, people see in him not perfection, but authenticity, a rare commodity in Nigerian politics. He has repeatedly said, public money must be used for public good, and throughout his time as governor, he lived by that creed. He didn't just preach integrity, he practiced it when it was inconvenient, when it cost him comfort, and even when it cost him power. Critics have tried over the years to find dirt on him, to link him to corruption scandals or misuse of funds, but none has stuck, because there was none to find. His administration was one of the few in modern Nigeria where auditors, both local and international, found no trace of looting or missing billions. Peter Obi's life as a governor stands as a reminder that leadership is not about how much one takes, but how much one leaves behind. He left behind not only money and investments, but also a culture of accountability, a belief that leaders can indeed govern with integrity and still deliver results. He showed that honesty is not weakness, and that transparency is not an obstacle to development, but its foundation. In a society often disillusioned by corruption and greed, Peter Obi's story rekindles hope. It tells young Nigerians that clean politics is possible. It tells future leaders that public office is not for personal gain, but for service to humanity. At a time when Nigeria still struggles with corruption, mismanagement, and waste, Peter Obi's example stands tall, a candle of integrity burning in the dark corners of our political history. He came, he served, and he left, not with wealth, but with honor. And long after his tenure, his integrity continues to speak louder than any campaign speech ever could. Peter Obi didn't just govern Anambra State, he redefined what it means to lead with conscience. His time in office remains proof that integrity is not outdated, that honesty can still win, and that true leadership is not about how much you accumulate, but how faithfully you serve.